Stop spending money on expensive supplements your doctor told you about because what I'm about to show you actually outperforms many of them, and it's something you can find sitting right in your local grocery store for less than $2. Even more surprising, a major Harvard Medical School linked study found that this simple approach helped reduce the most harmful type of internal inflammation by up to 63% in adults over 65. After 25 years working as a physician and researcher, I can tell you I've rarely seen a dietary strategy produce results this consistent and this powerful. But first, you need to understand something most people completely miss. Chronic inflammation isn't just about sore joints, back pain, or feeling stiff. It's a slow, hidden internal process that quietly damages your body over time. Researchers at the Mayo Clinic now link it to some of the most serious conditions we see today, including Alzheimer's disease, heart failure, type 2 diabetes, and the rapid loss of muscle that often leads older adults into assisted care far earlier than expected. The troubling part is that many people over 60 are unknowingly making it worse every single day through their diet and lifestyle. And the truth is, the food industry understands this very well. In many cases, it's more profitable to sell you long-term medications or processed solutions than to highlight simple food-based strategies that actually support your health. In this breakdown, I'm going to walk you through 5 of the most powerful anti-inflammatory foods on the planet, ranked from number 5 to number 1. And I can tell you right now, the final one will probably surprise you the most. Most people eat it incorrectly at the wrong time and miss the most beneficial part entirely. Stay until the end because just that one food alone has the potential to shift your health in a major way. Before we get into it, I want to connect with you directly. Share your age in the comments and tell me your biggest health concern right now, whether it's joint discomfort, brain fog, low energy, heart health worries, or something else. I go through the comments personally on the Weird Lab, and your input helps shape what I cover next. Let's begin. One of the most underrated yet highly effective anti-inflammatory foods is extra virgin olive oil. Most people think they already understand it, but research shows there's much more going on beneath the surface. A study from the University of Pennsylvania, published in the Annals of Clinical and Translational Neurology, looked at adults between 55 and 80 years old who consumed about 1.5 tablespoons of high-quality extra virgin olive oil daily for 6 months. The results were remarkable. Blood flow in the brain's tiny vessels improved by 34%, supporting better cerebrovascular function. At the same time, levels of interleukin-6, one of the key inflammatory messengers in the body, dropped by about 28%. This is especially important as we age, because after 60, the body's natural ability to control inflammation starts to weaken. Think of your immune system like a thermostat. When you're young, it reacts when needed and then settles back down. But later in life, that balance becomes less stable and the system can remain in a low-grade on state even when there's no real threat. Scientists call this process inflammaging, and it plays a major role in many age-related conditions. Extra virgin olive oil contains a powerful compound called oleocanthal, which behaves in a way that is surprisingly similar to ibuprofen at a molecular level. It targets the same inflammatory pathways. The key difference is safety. While ibuprofen can lead to side effects like stomach irritation or kidney strain in older adults, oleocanthal does not carry those same risks when consumed as part of food. Research from the Monell Chemical Senses Center suggests that around 50 milliliters of high-quality extra virgin olive oil can produce anti-inflammatory effects comparable to a small fraction of an ibuprofen dose, and it can be consumed daily without the same concerns. However, most people make a critical mistake. They overheat it. Once olive oil is heated past its smoke point, around 375 degrees Fahrenheit, many of its beneficial compounds begin to break down, reducing its health value. The best way to use it is cold, such as drizzling it over vegetables, salads, or whole grains. It also works best when paired with fat-soluble nutrients like leafy greens, which helps improve absorption. There's also a powerful combination effect. Pairing extra virgin olive oil with tomatoes, for example, creates a stronger anti-inflammatory response due to how oleocanthal and lycopene work together, making the effect significantly more powerful than either food alone, according to research from the University of Athens. Freshness also matters. Always check the harvest date on the bottle because fresher oil contains higher levels of beneficial compounds. Next, we move to another powerful food that has been used in traditional medicine for thousands of years, and modern research is finally confirming its value. That food is wild-caught salmon. Think of it as something like a natural firefighter inside your body. It doesn't just reduce inflammation, it also helps repair some of the damage it leaves behind. A study from the University of Pittsburgh School of Medicine followed over 1,200 adults above the age of 70 for 4 years. Those who ate at least 2 servings of fatty fish like wild salmon each week showed about 41% lower levels of C-reactive protein, a key marker of inflammation in the blood. Even more interesting, their physical performance also improved. They maintained better grip strength, balance, and walking speed, 3 major indicators of long-term independence and healthy aging. And this is where the science becomes even more meaningful. Before you can understand how to use olive oil correctly, you need to understand what's actually happening inside your body at the cellular level. Every single cell in your body, your muscle cells, brain cells, and heart cells, is wrapped in a membrane made largely of fat. And that fat isn't just structural, it directly influences how those cells behave, how they communicate, and how they respond to inflammation. When your diet is dominated by omega-6 fatty acids, which are commonly found in processed vegetable oils and ultra-processed packaged foods, those cell membranes start to lose their flexibility. Instead of being smooth and responsive, they become more rigid and sticky, making it easier for inflammatory signals to spread and harder for the body to calm things down. On the other hand, omega-3 fatty acids, especially EPA and DHA found in wild-caught fish, gradually replace those omega-6 fats inside your cell membranes. This shift changes everything. The membranes become more fluid and efficient, allowing cells to communicate better and reducing the likelihood of chronic inflammation building up in the first place. This balance becomes even more important after the age of 70 because your body's ability to convert plant-based omega-3 sources into usable EPA and DHA drops significantly, by nearly half. That means relying on direct sources like fatty fish becomes far more important than ever. Now, when it comes to olive oil, the same principle applies. How you use it determines how much benefit you actually get. One of the most common mistakes people make is exposing it to high heat. Extra virgin olive oil is rich in delicate compounds that are responsible for its anti-inflammatory effects, and when it's overheated, those compounds start to break down. That means frying or cooking it at high temperatures can strip away much of its nutritional value. The best way to use olive oil is in its raw, unheated form. Drizzle it over salads, steamed vegetables, or whole grains after cooking. This preserves its bioactive compounds and allows your body to absorb them fully. Pairing also matters. When olive oil is consumed with foods like leafy greens or tomatoes, the absorption and effectiveness can actually increase due to nutrient synergy. For example, combining olive oil with tomatoes enhances the availability of certain antioxidants, making the overall anti-inflammatory effect stronger than either food on its own. Freshness is another overlooked factor. Always check the harvest date instead of just the expiration date because fresher oil contains higher levels of beneficial compounds. The key idea is simple. Olive oil isn't just an ingredient, it's a bioactive food. And the way you handle it directly determines how much of its healing potential your body actually receives. Now, the same kind of science applies to wild salmon, which plays a critical role in reducing inflammation from the inside out. Let's continue. Let's continue from turmeric, because this is where things get really interesting, and also where most people unknowingly make the biggest mistake. The challenge with turmeric isn't whether it works. The science is very clear that its active compound curcumin has strong anti-inflammatory effects. The real issue is absorption. On its own, your body barely absorbs it. In fact, research from the University of Texas MD Anderson Cancer Center shows that standard curcumin has a bioavailability of less than 3%, which means the vast majority passes through your system without doing much at all. But there's a simple, natural way to completely change that. One of the most powerful enhancers is black pepper. Inside black pepper is a compound called piperine, which temporarily slows down the liver enzymes that normally break curcumin down too quickly. This gives your body a much better chance to absorb it. Even a small amount, around a quarter teaspoon, can dramatically increase curcumin absorption and turn turmeric from something your body barely uses into something far more biologically active. The second key factor is fat. Curcumin is fat-soluble, which means it needs dietary fat to be properly transported through your intestinal lining and into your bloodstream. This is exactly why traditional preparations like golden milk have been used for centuries. When turmeric is blended with milk or plant-based fats like coconut milk, it becomes significantly more effective. Once absorbed, curcumin does something especially important for aging brains. It can cross the blood-brain barrier. This is the protective filter that normally blocks many substances from entering brain tissue. Because of this ability, researchers at UCLA have explored its potential role in reducing amyloid plaque buildup, one of the key markers associated with Alzheimer's disease, with promising results in early studies. What makes curcumin different from many common anti-inflammatory drugs is its mechanism. Instead of broadly suppressing inflammation everywhere in the body, it appears to target specific inflammatory pathways like NF-κB, helping reduce chronic inflammation while still allowing your immune system to respond normally when needed. I once worked with a 71-year-old man who had been struggling with long-term back inflammation for years and was relying heavily on over-the-counter pain medications. Over time, he began to experience kidney-related concerns, which can sometimes happen with prolonged use of certain anti-inflammatory drugs. We replaced part of his routine with a simple daily golden milk mix, turmeric, black pepper, a healthy fat source like coconut oil, and warm plant-based milk. Within a few months, he reported a significant drop in discomfort, and over time, his overall health markers improved as well. His doctor was surprised by the change. The key takeaway is that preparation matters just as much as the ingredient itself. Without black pepper and fat, turmeric is far less effective. With them, it becomes a much more functional part of an anti-inflammatory routine. Ginger can also enhance this effect. When combined with turmeric, it works through complementary inflammatory pathways, creating a stronger overall response than either spice alone. Now, if turmeric surprised you, the next food takes things even further because it activates one of your body's most powerful internal defense systems. We're talking about broccoli sprouts. Unlike regular broccoli, these tiny seedlings contain extremely high levels of a compound called sulforaphane. Research from Johns Hopkins University shows that broccoli sprouts can contain 50 to 100 times more sulforaphane than mature broccoli. Sulforaphane is important because it activates a master regulator in your body called NRF2. When NRF2 is turned on, it triggers the expression of over 200 genes involved in detoxification, cellular repair, and anti-inflammatory defense. In simple terms, it helps switch your body into a deeper protective and repair mode. Clinical studies have shown that sulforaphane can significantly reduce oxidative stress and lower inflammatory markers throughout the body. This is especially relevant as we age, since our natural antioxidant defenses gradually weaken over time. But there's a critical detail most people miss. Broccoli sprouts don't contain active sulforaphane directly. Instead, they contain two compounds that must interact when the plant is raw and properly prepared. Heat destroys the enzyme needed for this conversion, which means cooked sprouts lose much of their potential benefit. That's why raw consumption is key. Adding fresh broccoli sprouts to salads, sandwiches, or smoothies allows the natural reaction to happen inside your body, producing sulforaphane effectively. Some research even suggests that combining raw sprouts with cooked broccoli can increase overall sulforaphane availability significantly. Because of this, broccoli sprouts are one of the most concentrated food-based ways to activate your body's internal defense systems. You can even grow them at home very easily, which makes them both affordable and consistent as part of a daily routine. And this is where everything comes together, because when you start combining foods that activate different anti-inflammatory pathways, the effects don't just add up, they multiply. This is the real science of food as medicine, and it completely changes how you think about aging and long-term health.